It just got very real as a shocking new report has dropped surrounding Nikola Jokic that has Lakers fans fired up. But this report changes everything for the landscape of not only the Lakers, but the NBA. And following reports recently linking Jokic to the Lakers, this new report makes things very real. Stay tuned for all on this episode, folks. Before we get into it, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, about 90% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Before we get into the video, thank you guys again for your continued support. It has been unbelievable. We are almost at playoff time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a crazy time of year. So if you're enjoying, it would mean the world to myself, Hunter, and Okeshi, if you could smack that subscribe button. Thank you guys again for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, things just got very real. Now, I had a video yesterday talking about the Lakers, how they're favorites for Nikola Jokic, and obviously following the Mike Malone firing, things have been very interesting in Nuggets land, and the Lakers, it seems that Rob Pelinka is ready to strike. And I want to start with this report that dropped. There's a bunch of different things within this report. We're also going to dive into some other things. We can see this here. Rival teams have began to hear that Nikola Jokic's patience was wearing thin in Denver due to the team's struggles. The Nuggets locker room was a mess, with team and league sources indicating that the franchise's most important players, including Nikola Jokic, had grown frustrated and fatigued by Malone's fiery ways. So a few different things to go over here. It seems that not only was Nikola Jokic not shocked about the Mike Malone firing, it's that he had something, he had some role to play in this, and multiple people on the team weren't happy with the way Mike Malone was coaching, and specifically what came out recently was, of course, surrounding Russell Westbrook, which, as Lakers fans, we're all familiar with. But the first sentence is interesting here. Rival teams began to hear that their patience is wearing thin. Now, if you go back, and we'll dive into a bunch of different things, the Lakers, following the Luka Doncic trade, nothing is off the table at this point. And if Nikola Jokic becomes available, we'll dive into a mock trade in a minute. This makes, of course, all the sense in the world. I mean, pairing up Nikola Jokic with Luka Doncic, but not only to pairing, Luka with Nikola, if there's a real chance here. They cleared their GM out, they cleared their coach out, and now we're hearing about internal, struggles, a bunch of different things. It seems that Nikola Jokic, if they decide to go that route, could be on the trade block, a lot sooner than we may have thought. Now, obviously, we know that Nikola Jokic, the Lakers are favored to land him, and this is from BetUS, which has the Lakers at plus 300. Of course, we went Bovada Sports, had him at plus 500. But regardless, the Lakers are favorites to land Nikola Jokic. Now, do I think it's going to happen? No. But at least I don't think it's likely to happen. However, things have gotten very real surrounding it, and you can't deny that, especially with these new reports coming out that not only has Nikola Jokic specifically been, was a part of the Mike Malone firing, but he was also a little bit annoyed with the way the team has been running. You pair that with all the reports linking Nikola Jokic to the Lakers and all these different things. I don't think it's likely. It probably won't happen as it pertains to in the immediate future, say as recent as soon as this offseason. But I think it's something you have to keep an eye on if you're a Lakers fan. They have some assets. That will be the biggest question mark. And you can also see this here. That dynamic intensified recently, starting with Westbrook's meltdown against Minnesota on April 1st, in which his late-game blunders cost Denver the win and spoiled Jokic's 60-point triple-double. After a brutal Jokic turnover late in the loss to Indiana on Sunday, when he and Westbrook miscommunicated up top and the big man's pass flew out of bounds, Malone defended his veteran point guard in a way that was seen by some as a shot at the team's young talent. So things are getting, the more reports you look at, the more wild things are getting. It seems like Denver is a mess. And if you're the Lakers and you're a Lakers fan, you want there to be A, as much chaos as possible for the Denver Nuggets, and B, you want them to start, considering trading these guys. And maybe it's not Nikola Jokic, maybe it's Michael Porter, maybe it's Jamal Murray, whatever it ends up being. Even Nikola Jokic trade aside, this is fantastic if you're a Lakers fan, because the playoffs are just around the corner and heading, forward. Not that Denver was necessarily a dynasty. There was talks about how they could be a really good, championship team for years to come. It seems, at least for this year, that things are going to be very difficult for them to compete, especially given the fact that Westbrook is still on the team. It's not like Westbrook is gone. It's Mike Malone that's gone. And obviously, as the Lakers currently stand, they're in a very interesting spot as it pertains to that. But again, you pair that with the fact that, as you can see here, per Bovada, the Lakers are plus 500s. They are seen as the most favorable odds of landing the Joker. If he decides to do so, his trio with LeBron and Luka can arguably be the most stacked we've ever seen. I don't want to put it, I don't think it's super likely that he's going to join anytime soon. But at the same time, this was a trade proposal by FanDuel. I covered it in yesterday's video. Let me know down below, yes or no, would you do this if you're the Lakers? And B, question number two, do you think that Nuggets would do this? I don't think the Nuggets would do this deal. It's Reaves, Rui, Dalton, Dorian, 2 firsts, or a first and a swap. I think if you're trading Nikola Jokic, you can get the Mikal Bridges package. You can get 5 first-round picks and Austin Reaves. And if you're the Lakers, I don't think you do that package. This one here, I think you do in a heartbeat. And I'm a huge Austin Reaves fan, one of the biggest Austin Reaves fans there is. But when you have a chance to acquire Nikola Jokic, I mean, you'd obviously give up Austin Reaves for that. Yes, there's age concerns, there's contract concerns with Jokic as it pertains to not age concerns in the sense of, he's going to go downhill or anything like that. Of course, contract concerns, there's always going to be that with these supermax players. He's going to be he's one of the best players of all time already. He is probably the best player in the NBA right now, maybe aside from Luka Doncic, which again, it's up to you guys to decide. But again, they are favorites to land Nikola, and that's the biggest thing here. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. Turmoil all across the Nuggets and really across the NBA with, of course, Taylor Jenkins being fired and the Memphis Grizzlies. Things are crazy right now. Luckily, we have our very good coach in JJ Redick, who is going to hit and has hit, probably going to hit 50 wins in the next 2 games in his, inaugural, rookie season as a coach. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. And again, multiple new odds now have dropped. You have BetUS at plus 300. You have Bovada at best at plus 500. You have all these different things. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. Now, a couple other things to get into here. Let's talk about the current standings a little bit because there's a bunch of updates we have here now. And you can see this here from, this is the ESPN standings. Lakers currently are in the 3 seed. Now, if they win one of their next 2 games, they lock themselves into that 3 seed. And then, of course, you'd be playing the 6 seed, which is either going to be the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, it could be a few different teams at this point. Most likely either the Memphis Grizzlies or the Golden State Warriors. Now, we're at the point where we can actually talk about this in almost certainties, right? We've been talking about hypotheticals all year as it pertains to who the Lakers are going to play, all these different things. They avoided the play-in spot, which is fantastic. That was their big goal. That's what JJ Redick said. They need to win one of their next 2 games, and then hopefully it's the first, the next game, of course, because then they can, rest their guys for the last game if you want to go that route. But regardless, let me know down below, and this is a conversation that's going to be, had a bunch. Who would you rather the Lakers play in the playoffs? Would you rather them face up against the Memphis Grizzlies or the Warriors? I think I'd probably rather the Grizzlies. The Warriors are scary, just, Jimmy Butler, and they were really on a tear since acquiring Jimmy Butler. Of course, they're 6-4 in their last 10. The Lakers, exact same, 6-4 in their last 10. But I think as it pertains to the Lakers right now, you need to go out and, do your best. Now, speaking of that game, you can see this here. It looks like we'll have a competitive game tomorrow in LA. Alperen Sengun is questionable, along with Fred VanVleet and Jabari Smith. Dillon Brooks and Amen Thompson are playing, where Fred and Jabari are questionable along with Alperen Sengun. It seems like the Rockets are going to, there's some rumblings out there, they're going to risk their health of their players to beat the Lakers. And it's interesting. So the Rockets have their seating locked in. They can't change anything as it pertains to that. However, what is interesting is that they are playing their guys. They're not going to be resting them. So they're trying to knock down the Lakers and make it so they're not going to, get that 3 seed. Because I think ultimately, we've been talking about it on the channel a bunch. You do not want that 4 seed. That is the hardest path. You have to go through the Thunder. If you are the 3 seed, of course, you have to go through not the Thunder, at least as early. And then, of course, you go into the Memphis Grizzlies series probably, or the Golden State Warriors, but not having to go through the Thunder is a huge, huge obstacle. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. We're going to keep you up to date. We're going to have post games coming, a bunch of different things, streams on the way. If you're enjoying the daily content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let me know, would you do this FanDuel deal? Cheers.